Greetings everyone, my name is Napoleon Complex and today I will be playing the Battle of Nineveh. So this took place in 612 BC. I will give people an opportunity to pause and read the history if they want to do that. And then I am going to enter the battle. So I'll be back in a moment. So this is going to be part of my Historical Battles and Deity series in order to challenge myself to really learn the game and to learn how to use all of my forces effectively. I'm putting myself through a series of challenges, and one of those challenges is to beat the game on the hardest difficulty setting for each of the historical battles. And I will eventually hopefully look at the historical campaigns as well if I can somehow achieve that feat. So I will be back once I have designed a strategy to try and win this battle, because I can't think and talk at the same time. Be right back. So here's the situation. I am outclassed just about all along the line. I might possibly get a bit of an advantage here against the reserve Assyrian foot, but over on this side I only have unarmoured archers. I am facing a lethal force of Assyrian heavy foot in the centre. I am slightly overlapped on this flank, and to make matters worse, the enemy cavalry wings are far stronger than mine on both flanks. Because of the difficulty setting, these chariots are stronger, mine are weaker, and on top of that, this cavalry is only mediocre. It's not superior like the Babylonian guard cavalry over here. So there is absolutely no way that I am winning a stand-up fight with this army. I'm going to have to think of something else. What I intend to do is I don't intend to engage this entire army at all. I'm going to split it into two different battles, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my entire army around and to the right. And I'm going to pull back diagonally in this direction, and this side of the army is going to do the same, but it's going to turn, this army will turn to the right, and this army will turn to the left. And the cavalry are going to retreat to the side out towards the desert. So you may think, think that I'm insane, because my first plan is to split my army. And you're right, that would not normally be a wise move, but my plan here is to split my army and move it away from the centre of the battlefield where the enemy's most dangerous soldiers are. And it will also buy a little bit of time for my reinforcements, which I know are coming, to arrive in the battlefield either over here or over here. I forget which side they arrive on. The idea is to first of all break the enemy's cavalry, then turn in the reserve Assyrian foot, and finally close in on the Assyrian heavy foot when we turn around to meet them, and in other words to defeat the enemy in detail, as Napoleon recommends. So we'll do the same on this side as well. I really don't think that my skirmishers will be able to win this battle, so I'm also going to pull them away to the flanks in order to help with the battle against the enemy cavalry. If it does come to shooting them down, I don't think that my massed archers will have a problem disposing of this, although I will miss the ammunition. Okay, nothing left to do next turn. And as I expect, the enemy cavalry starts to outpace the enemy infantry a little bit. We want to let this continue. Okay, so give me a moment and I'll move my troops. Okay, so as you can see, I am starting to turn these units around, and the idea is they are going to set up on the flank of this advancing cavalry force. Against the enemy cavalry, this infantry force is becoming my centre against them, and the rest of the army is on the way. I have spotted this piece of rough ground. I'm hoping to put this Babylonian mixed foot unit on it, and this will hopefully serve as a centre point to my defence against the Assyrian heavy chariots. I will put my Babylonian massed archers either 1 or 2 tiles away. I think 2 tiles away so that we still get the archer bonus from them. So these Assyrian chariots are running into a situation where they will have infantry in front of them, which block their progress by rough ground, and on top of that, they may have to deal with the Babylonian guard foot, and I'll have the chariots to contend with as well. On the right flank, I've continued to pull my infantry back. I think they will have to pull back a little bit farther, as my plan here revolves around setting the oops, I haven't actually moved these yet. Revolves around setting the Mede cavalry up on this area here. I intend to draw the enemy into this open area of desert and then destroy them with a flank attack. Now I need to let the chariots enter this area of rough ground, as I will not be able to launch an efficient flank attack from over the rough ground. I need the space. and the skirmishers continue to progress. Let's see how the enemy are responding. So the skirmishers are unfortunately getting close enough to cause some damage. I am hoping that due to the fact that they are firing from farther away, this will cause them to waste some ammo. That cavalry force is getting rather compressed. However, that's probably to their advantage, although it does lock these two units out of the fight potentially. With a bit of luck, they'll form a traffic jam. And as expected, here comes some arrow fire. The unit sizes are larger than normal, so that really was a paper cut. So we're now getting into a position where the maneuvers may be becoming a bit more interesting. I'll resort to cuts here in between long periods of thought. So here we can see that I'm turning my force back to threaten the enemy on the flank. I'm also bringing these camels over to help. I believe they will be of great assistance in disrupting the enemy cavalry and making them less deadly to my own. This is simple enough. I'm simply maneuvering my archers into the position that I want them to be in when the enemy cavalry arrive, and I'm bringing in the Babylonian guard foot, though I do need to be careful as the traffic here is starting to obstruct the movement of my own soldiers. I intend to fight the battle along this line here. As you can see, I prepared a little trap for these Assyrian heavy chariots who may come into concentrated fire from my Babylonian light archers. It's time for these lads to start turning around. Unfortunately, despite my best efforts, it may take some time to organise this efficiently. If I can get the skirmishers over to the rough ground, this may present an advantage. Starting to get a little bit worried that my infantry will be caught in the hop. Still, I am achieving my objective of lengthening the line. This could get rather serious for my Mede subject spearmen. That's interesting. So they are just irregular foot repainted. So they only have the 50% swordsman and they're lightly protected. So this could be quite problematic. I mustn't forget to move anything, especially in this difficulty setting. Right, next turn. Interesting. So they aren't even going to try to move up into range. The rough ground is beginning to disrupt the enemy formation. This is advantageous to me. I expect that these Babylonian light archers will take fire, but at least they'll help to disrupt the chariots. At this point, contact is inevitable on this flank, and I will simply have to brace for it. My guard foot should at least help to keep the chariots busy. This flank is getting worryingly close to contact too, especially as I am not yet set up for contact. These mounted scouts are an annoyance, but they shouldn't be too much more threatening than that. Interesting. As expected, this unit takes a hail of arrows. I will respond in kind. And that's a unit already disrupted, which is excellent news for us. The enemy's superiority in cavalry is not so great that they can afford to take disruptions like that, especially in the face of the stiff resistance which I am setting up to confront them. My archers take up their planned positions. I don't want these Babylonian guardfoot to be completely out on a limb. I want these archers in a position to fire. I may have to let them fall back behind the mixed foot as the enemy army approaches. This unit turns to face, they'll be under pressure next turn. I will take a pot shot at the approaching heavy chariots just to soften them up a little bit. I need to get those chariots into position. Unfortunately, they will disrupt my own chariots for a while I achieve that. The presence of the cavalry of the enemy scouts has actually become a nuisance as they will weaken my Babylonian chariots next turn. And I think to avoid that, as their presence there is going to be problematic anyway. No, I have to move up like that and then around. My aim is to spread this enemy force as thin as possible. And to achieve that, I will also take my cavalry up onto this hill. These Babylonian guard cavalry are good enough that with the hill advantage they should be more than able to defend themselves against the superior Assyrian cavalry. It's a shame. If I'd spotted this before, I would have also given them a general. I will transfer the general to here for now to help protect us against the direct volley. I do not like using missiles at half volley, and so I don't think I will. Everything's moved over here, so I'll continue over to this flank. Well, we're obviously not going to move like that. If they would just move like any other normal units of cavalry, it would be helpful. My trap is almost set, but my infantry need to pull back just a little bit further. They'll be pulling straight back from the enemy army next turn. Note how the enemy infantry are being left in the dust. Let's see. Those chariots will travel to here. Let's see, where can I move my archers? I think I will set a similar trap to the one I set up last turn. Well, that's fine. I can simply send my archers here, and they will now be able to target this. Yeah, it's like this. And they'll even be able to get a little bit of initial fire in against those heavy chariots. Next turn. Just making sure absolutely everything is set. The skirmishers continue to chase, but so far they've had a minimal effect on my army. However, it will start to add up, and I'm afraid that these Assyrian tribal levy slingers will get of a close range shot next turn. This could also be problematic. I'm afraid that these Babylonian light archers are about to be charged. However, I think the chariot charge will hit before that can happen. I do need to be careful that these heavy chariots don't pursue between my lines and end up hitting my line of Babylonian massed archers. That is a concern. Unfortunately, the enemy infantry appear to have caught up rather quickly. Those Babylonian guard foot are heavily armoured and are more than capable of standing up to the pressure from the heavy chariots. In addition to that, the chariots' positioning means they may get in the way of their infantry. The enemy cavalry is now frighteningly close to my retreating infantry line. I will soon have no choice but to turn them around if I want to use them efficiently. A lucky escape for our archers there. Interesting, they veered towards my cavalry lines. I was hoping that that would not happen. Unfortunately, I have suffered a disruption. At least it's from a unit that's not particularly valuable. Okay. Quite a lot to unpack here, because I'm still trying to pull back just a little bit from the enemy army. But I do need to think about where my troops are going to end up, because those chariots cross 1, 2, 3, they'll be here next turn. I do need to pull the medi-massed archers back. Okay, it seems to me that I have no choice. I will have to move here. That means that chariot can come right up here and challenge now. So there's no more falling back for my troops. It also means that unfortunately my medi-massed archers will be frightened by the enemy's proximity. I still think this is worth it, as we have achieved quite a bit of distance between ourselves and the enemy infantry. These units are unfortunately out of command and have been slowed down. This may affect my formation somewhat as the battle develops. My cavalry at least are fully turned around and are ready to charge the enemy flank. I still want to use my disrupted archers to attempt to disrupt this chariot unit. Unfortunately, they failed. I tried to pull them out of the way to preserve them from any further damage. Here, it seems I do have very few decisions to make. We have to engage my Babylonian cavalry. Will move around to start enveloping the enemy line. My chariots will join in with us, and we have succeeded in disrupting an enemy unit. The camels are in the way, so for the moment I will keep them out of this exchange. They will have to continue to maneuver for advantage. This does unfortunately mean that they are now quite far out of position. In fact, we're not within charge range of any of the heavies. I will pull them back. This unit will turn to the side. Well, let's see what we can achieve first of all with the units that are obviously in a position to attack. First of all, we will make decisions for the units whose targets are obvious, and then for the units who have a choice. I think this unit has already taken all of its cohesion tests. Well, they are further away, but let's see if we can force a cohesion test on those veteran Assyrians. No luck. That said, I'm not out of tricks yet. Now it's the turn of the Babylonian massed archers. These units are paralysed and are likely to be taken next turn, unfortunately, but I can at least use their last turn of life in order to force a cohesion test on the veteran Assyrian cavalry. Unfortunately, it didn't take, but it was worth a try. Very risky, but I could try and lock in these chariots. I think the cavalry would simply move around and they would they would simply bounce off after a few turns of damage. It's not worth losing my formation over. The chariots are unfortunately threatening to move around the area controlled by my Babylonian guard foot. That makes them priority number 1 for disruption. Now the only thing is, can they charge from there? I'm going to avert their facing just in case. That way they'll be forced to engage the slightly stronger Babylonian mixed foot. I'll also place a general here to reflect the danger I consider that to be. And I'll focus fire on them to weaken that unit in general. Excellent, we've achieved the disruption. My main target then will be the charge threatening heavy Assyrian heavy chariots. Long term, this formation is not particularly useful to me. I may want to consider changing it. Let's have a look at the other flank, which is maturing as well. And I just remembered I've already done everything here, so on we go. Of course. So that unfortunately undoes a lot of the hard work I engaged in to weaken this unit. Not really much to remark on here, the enemy line is just moving out. Now this is a little bit concerning. The enemy archers are moving into range to fire, and this may cause casualties amongst my Babylonian massed archers, to say nothing of the eventual charge risk. That's fine. Let's probably put those veteran Assyrian cavalry in quite an exposed position. The cavalry have moved up to engage my infantry line, but the truth is that they've moved right into my trap. Those skirmishers very helpfully pushed my archers out of danger. The enemy are doing my work for me. I have decided that taking shelter in the forest may not be such a bad idea. Luckily we held firm there. The enemy skirmishers are posing a problem. Half arcs of fire. They're obviously trying to disrupt the Mede spearmen. It's an intelligent move by the AI. My unarmored archers are, of course, the AI's favored target for missile fire. That's not good. Okay, these units... out of charge range just, so I'll fall back. And I may as well... well, I suppose I may as well fire off my half volley. This unit's already disrupted. Let's see if we can turn that into fragmentation. I'll try with this unit first. And then with this unit. I guess I'll have to use all three. Good. Once again, we'll use the units that we have on hand. Excellent. Do I want to turn in this unit or this unit? Or do I want to attack these chariots instead? I will get concentrated fire. Well, not really. This unit's not worth firing on anymore. and this unit's out of range, so I don't really need to worry about facing, as that's pretty much been decided for me. Let's go for the obvious fire first. And then I need to decide. So I'll fire a volley against this unit, just in case we cause a freak disruption. Need to be careful of my facing here. I think I will turn my fire upon this unit with these skirmishers, as they're quite well placed for that. Oh, very well. If we have to use all of this fire, then I'll just choose to use these Babylonian masked archers to cause a disruption. We've already caused a disruption. Let's see if we can go for the fragmentation on these. Oh, perfect. Only one volley. Seeing as they're presenting a target of opportunity, I'll hit the reserve Assyrian foot with the archers here. And this unit of Assyrian heavy chariots is a good target for my massed archers. The enemy chariots are falling apart. I think I will attack this unit after all. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough. And there's a small chance that these units could get knocked off the map. I'll climb the hill, but I don't think that's likely they'll try and run when they have a hill advantage like this. I will turn them to face. These Babylonian Arab cavalry will probably be forced to retreat by the veteran Assyrian cavalry next turn. Because why not? Not really much point in saving the ammo. These guys aren't exactly the best archers anyway. Let's see if we can't get some enfilade fire on these Assyrian cavalry. So my cavalry now open up their assault. Need to decide what to do with these archers. Right, I think I'll need to be careful how I move them to make sure I don't trap these archers in. I want to give them an opportunity to move out of the way. Let's have another go at these guys. Excellent, a disruption. And I think the fact that we're firing into their back is helping. So we're now getting to the point I was talking about where I need to be careful about how I approach this. You guys fire at the chariots. Now, do I go for the chariots or the cavalry? I rather think I'll go for the cavalry. No dice. Chariots? I need something here. And I just realized I've made a mistake. So you've all probably already spotted this, but what exactly am I going to do about this? Well, the short answer is that I can't do much about this. I'll have to move these melee units back. Otherwise I'm endangering these units who won't be able to stand up to a direct chariot charge. Seeing as this unit's facing the general, I'll have to put him on the melees, but this means that I've broken up my line. This is not good play. As if that wasn't bad enough, the chariots also threaten this unit here. I'll turn around and I'll threaten the square with my spears, but my troops are rather out of formation. I've lost this entire turn of fire. That simple mistake may have cost me the game. And I've now left these units. I need to stop talking and start thinking. But I still reckon I can win this. Well, on that rather dire note, next turn. One thing this has done is tear the enemy's formation into a mess. This scattered band of units will be much easier to break than their concentrated army. Lots of concentrated fire. That was unfortunate. I'm just trying to look at the odds here. Greatly advantaged. I thought that these melee spearmen would be a good choice against chariots, but it seems that I don't quite understand the mechanics well enough. My line is coming under overwhelming pressure from these skirmishers and archers. Okay, this infantry line is coming to break these soldiers. But the left is looking better. Sorry, this is my right, isn't it? No, this is my left. My left is looking better. We can hope for a disruption here, but I'm not holding my breath with highly superior soldiers. Now you're in trouble. Do I bring these out to play? Guess we'll do this. I think they've been softened up enough that I can bring in my other cavalry. I didn't think they'd stand up to that, though I did take a bit of a risk just assuming it. Looking at the way my troops are arranged here. Hopefully this will finish them off. Okay, this entire part of the enemy army is going to fall apart soon. I'm going to pull these Babylonian archers back again to try and give them some shelter from the oncoming onslaught. In fact, looking at this entire part of the army needs to fall back. Oh no. No, what I need to do is start causing disruptions. And ideally I need to start breaking this enemy cavalry force. The problem is it's taken me so long to deal with the enemy's cavalry force that I now have I'm now having to confront the enemy's infantry line as well. I hope that I can make this work. We've inflicted a cohesion penalty on them. Let's see if we can get them to fragment from this. Good. That's 5% of the enemy army down and a lot on the way out. Try and save these massed archers for as long as I can. And these melee spearmen are just going to have to run for it. There's no way they're standing up to all of this. So these are just cavalry. And they're unarmored cavalry at that. So these are a good prospect for troops that we can simply shoot down. Unfortunately, they're blocking the way to more valuable units. I have a 25% chance of losing this. I've decided to gamble that it won't happen. We've held out. Though apparently only due to withstanding the cohesion test. Now that I know that these chariots have such an advantage, I'm worried. Especially since if they engage these melee spearmen, then the next thing they'll do is charge my massed archers. I was really hoping that we'd stop those Assyrian cavalry. They're extremely dangerous now that they're close. On the other hand, I may as well take the shot here as there's a chance of fragmentation here. Do I want to try a charge? No, I don't think I do. I'd rather get that fire in. Lots of disruptions. Now this flank is falling apart as well. We're doing extremely well in the cavalry battle. Overwhelming fire, but it wasn't enough. I would rather encourage the enemy to continue the firefight. So unfortunately it looks like my archers will simply have to snipe from long range. Since we've gone for devastating that unit of chariots, well, it turns out it all adds up. That's a disruption. Pull back. We need to set up a defensive line here. Oh, and I haven't even used this unit yet. Let's see, who's the most threatening? Probably this unit here. Okay. And everything's been done on this flank. I could try a charge here to try and break these chariots. But I'm afraid it might let troops in through my lines. I'll have to hold out for now. Much as it pains me to say that, as I suspect these reserve Assyrian foot will move up next turn to shield these Assyrian heavy chariots and prevent me from getting the break. They might not be able to stop everything though. Oh dear. And they did exactly what I thought they would. Thankfully the guard should take care of them fairly handily in melee. All of my resources have been devoted to winning the cavalry battle so far, so I've had little recourse against their infantry. Maybe if I'd withdrawn a little bit farther I could have bought myself some time. But we knew that was coming. Luckily the chariots bounce off, and that continues to obstruct them for a little while longer. Amazingly, the Assyrian cavalry here only decide to shoot. That's very lucky for me. We continue to get decimated by enemy missile fire. Brace yourself, a storm is coming. These soldiers have been shot to hell. I wasn't quick enough in my withdrawal, and as a result I practically lost these soldiers without a fight. Another amazing stands by my Mede spearmen. And my allies have arrived, but can they take part in the battle? The Assyrian cavalry break immediately. I should have taken the opportunity to soften these men up as well. I might have broken the entire force with a little bit of foresight. That's a fragmentation. And this enemy chariot force is now starting to look extremely vulnerable. They can't possibly take much more of this. Now my archers can turn on these Assyrian cavalry. We are unfortunately out of ammo. Let's see if I can't force the issue. Only health farm. Let's go for the disrupt on these chariots now. I need to get rid of these camels. And honestly, if I can get done a turn early, that would be extremely good news for me. They might even disrupt these chariots, though I doubt it. No luck. 42% chance now. These guys are going to lose eventually, but they're making a heroic stand while they live. I'm going to have to form a battle line here, so this will be a refused flank. These archers are going to die. And at this rate, they might take the spears with them. I want to try and preserve this unit if I can. Pull them back on the diagonal. I know it means they leave the protection of the forest. They're going to act as a decoy. Send the melee spearmen this way. Cut these an enfilade, though I don't think that makes a difference to the cohesion test. If I move there, I'll obstruct my future turn of fire. Well, that may not be my plan anyway. Bring this chariot unit up and let's just go for a very concentrated field of fire. We've disrupted them. Let's see if we can get rid of that unit of Assyrians. Oh, this is dangerous. Just the touch of death we needed. Now that's 16% of the enemy army down, and they haven't even removed one of my units from the field. And that's the enemy cavalry force almost gone. Overall, I'm pleased by how this is going, but we're not out of the woods yet. Far from it. Going to go after those vulnerable camels next. Excellent. Disruption. The enemy skirmish foot are a pain. I'm going to try and focus some fire on those reserve Assyrian foot to cause a cohesion test. And if that works, my plan after that is to go after... Oh, okay. Well, my plan, regardless of other factors, is to try and get rid of those chariots. No luck. And that was critical. I'll engage them. With all of these forces disrupted, there's really not much I can do about this. I would like to pull this unit back. This is not good. Keep pulling back here, this unit's just going to have to die. It's a massive delaying operation over here. Well, that's my options on both flanks exhausted. Next turn. Lucky they engaged there. I was worried they'd go straight after the Babylonian mixed foot. Ah, but they won on impact. Interesting that they chose not to deploy the reserve Assyrian foot. Smart too, as it means that they can now move straight after my archers with their best units. I think this entire line is going to go before I can do anything. No, and I forgot to move my Scythian horse archers. What was I thinking? I'm playing on Deity. I can't afford to do stupid things like that. It's because I'm trying to talk. I'm trying to be an entertainer and a gamer at the same time. I need to focus more. Another lucky stand. I'm not sure that was the right call by my medic horse archers there. Even if this goes, I still have a lot of troops on the board and the enemy army has taken heavy casualties. My first of my units breaks. I have time to fix my mistakes. It pains me to lose these units so easily. It's not what I wanted to see. God, they've still got cavalry left. Thank you for wasting so much ammo on my routers. Okay, well, we knew that was coming. Just rather hoping they'd rout from that. As things are, I think I'm going to have to go for the auto break. Oh, get lost. And the angle gets in my way, which means I can't even threaten the units I wanted to threaten. Well, they're low on ammo now, but they can still cause a lot of casualties standing around, so I want to use their fire. Camels of all units hold farm. This unit is going to have to be my sacrificial lamb. I'll try to cause a disruption to soften the blow. And another hold farm. It's not looking good for this flank. Okay, let's start to move in. I've only got one volley left in these units, so they need to be effective. And for heaven's sake, let's start moving in the Scythians. So do I think I'm winning? Well, maybe. I'm about to take a hammering in the centre. But on the other hand, my cavalry are on the way, and a strong cavalry force can, with our missile capability, can sometimes beat an isolated infantry force. But I've given myself an uphill battle through the mistakes I've made. Let's start to tighten the noose on this enemy army. I know that those chariots are about to come through. There's not much I can do to stop that, so I need to try and move these units out of the way of the chariot charge which is coming. That is asking to get flanked. And the enemy infantry are upon me. Okay, I'm gonna move this unit to here. Because they do have some sword capability. Let this unit fail. I was gambling on them holding. It was a gamble, but I lost it. At least we managed to inflict a cohesion test there. Just continue to run these units back. Let's start. We're still in an advantageous position here, so I shouldn't complain too much. And I've moved everything over here, haven't I? No, wait. I've still got my infantry force to decide what to do with. Well, some of it anyway. I've only got one turn, so I think I'll just turn here to face. Need to think about what's going to happen here when all of this goes, which I suspect will be very quick. Well, they can at least turn and face the people who are going to kill them. Move this unit back, it may at least be a distraction. No, they only just hung on. Maybe I can cause a fragment. Excellent. Well, that's my position a little bit stronger there. As for here, just keep pulling back. What on earth were they threatening? The Assyrian cavalry. You have to be so careful to check that you're not within any potential charge range. And on top of that, I think there's a random element too, so I think that sometimes you can take a cohesion test even if you're one tile out of the enemy's charge range. Next turn. Enemy units are starting to break, but the relentless beat of this battle is still going on. My center left begins its final stand. Thankfully, the enemy wasted some time shooting at it first. Luckily, our archers hung on for a turn. This is going to hurt like hell. Those archers won't be able to fall back from that direction, I believe. Yep. This was perhaps inevitable given the fact that I was going to get caught up with eventually. But I'm really not happy about leaving my reinforcements behind. I'm really quite critical of myself there. Oh, they're not even going to hold a turn, are they? I thought I saw their animation stop, which I thought meant that they were going to break. Sometimes it's just a case of avoiding impact for long enough to gain an advantage somewhere else. That's what you have to do when you're heavily outnumbered like this. Just keep moving around. I brought up Sun Tzu a few times, and he tells us to, and his book tells us to flow like water around an enemy army. Fall back where they're strong, attack where they're weak, and that's exactly what you need to do. I think the enemy are starting to run a little bit low on arrows here. The enemy have thrown in the reserve Assyrian foot. That means my guards are now fighting 2 units at the same time. Even they'll struggle under those circumstances. I need to watch out for this chariot unit which is broken free. They could come up behind my army. Although I don't think that should be too much of a problem with the number of cavalry I now have free on the field. Let's address the failing left flank first. I'm going to go for the break against these camels. Good. Ideally, I would want these units to be... Let's see, what are the chances of losing a charge impact? That might be worth going for, to be honest. I'll close in on that vulnerable levy infantry. Right, hold on, no. I want to do this with full consideration. Good. How's this going to go? Do we have a general available? He's off. I threw him away. I've used him. But my archers managed to hold on anyway. That may be crucial. I'm going to move these units in to attack these levy infantry. But my real target is the back of the enemy line. I'll send a chariot through as well. That may not have been the best use of my arrows. These guys are almost out of ammo anyway. I think this unit will just try to crash through. Not the greatest finesse on display there, but it's my best option. Now that these camels are gone, I'll also set up a flank charge here. But honestly, anything that encourages those levy spearmen to give up a turn early is to my advantage. No, I'll let these archers start to set up a new battle line. And I'll let this... Aha, we finally have something that's appropriate to go after these mounted scouts. And their timing could not have been better. We've got all of this coming in from the flanks. I think they should probably take this route round. No, keep it... Well... Sorry for the indecision there, but I think they should go swing in like this. They're planning to swing right around the rear of the army. Well, this almost becomes my new front line. I may have overestimated the difficulty of this battle. I think with the strength of the cavalry and the fact that I managed to get an advantage by pulling back, I may have made this significantly easier for myself. Pull back onto the rough ground. Well, actually against most of these forces that won't really help. By some miracle do they actually manage to hold on? Well, they've disengaged. We may have a small stay of execution here. Let me check what a full arc of fire actually implies for these units. May as well focus fire on the unit that we actually have exposed to us. Yes, I'm feeling the pressure just slightly. I need these units out of the way now. But sometimes you don't get what you want. Maybe by going just a bit more pressure on them. It worked! Like a charm. Give these guys the general. They're going to pin in this unit of veteran spearmen and they are going to shoot it to death. And if they try to do anything about that, they'll get flanked. Those chariots are quite threatening at the moment. Good. We know what that follows up with. 29%. We are starting to break this enemy army. Aha. Can they turn? No. I was hoping for a close range volley from my archers there. They won't last long enough. Keep migrating. Chariots unfortunately cut off our escape. I'll fall back to delay the inevitable a little bit longer. But it doesn't look good for these units here, and this unit's about to break. There's nothing I can do, we'll just have to see what they hold for now. Can we possibly get a flank attack on these units? Because that would actually be... that would give us something. Turn and form a line of battle. It's going to be a very shortly held line of battle, but let's try and form a line of battle nonetheless. The majority of my troops will regroup here. I've already done everything on this flank, haven't I? Including moved here. Okay, on we go. I think this is almost won. The enemy are fleeing. The rout percentage is well in my favour. I can afford to lose some ground here now. The AI has not been fast enough in exploiting my weakness. That was expected. Thankfully my medi foot held firm this time. Can I prevent a flank attack here? I think I can, because they're unlikely to commit to a flank attack while their own flanks are threatened. I think that's the AI's behaviour anyway. My Babylonian massed archers have put up a heroic display of resistance. But the heavy foot are here now, and they'll make short work of these disrupted archers. But they've bought the rest of the army time. A unit falls. They're trying to break through, but they just do not have the steam anymore. Consider how hopeless the position looked at the start of the fight. And now they're falling like flies. They haven't been able to stop this flank attack, which means their infantry is next. I need to watch out. This melee horse archer unit is very exposed. Amazingly, our archers hold on another turn. And I think I've seen what I'll do to break them here. This is about to dissolve. Break it all! Well done, men. Keep them at bay. Help is on the way. I can't get there because of these Assyrian foot. These could turn, but we can't do it. I'm so close to rescuing these archers, but we can't quite get there in time. But if I can break their army quickly enough, then maybe we can save these soldiers. And I can win a greater victory. Absolutely heroic defense by those men. That could easily have been an instant fragmentation, but they've held. The camels are arriving to help on this flank, and so are my cavalry. What about this flank? Am I in a position to break any of this? We continue to wear down these veterans. Even though our ammo is low, it's not helping the veterans survive the arrow storm. Now they've been disrupted. The enemy's remaining chariots are coming under intense missile fire. If I could be assured of victory next turn, that would be a good move to make. If I could assure that breaking that unit would end the battle, but I don't know that for sure yet. But it is time to be more aggressive. I'm going to start to move in infantry units. It's unfortunate I haven't been able to do anything about the presence of this cavalry, this unit of chariots. They've obstructed my entire cavalry force. Maybe there's something I can do about this. I want to try and get into this archer line. Let's see, who have I focused fire on? Might be able to cause some disruption. Can't. Keep it going. Keep the pressure on. I just realised that I've let this unit get flanked. Although maybe not with the flanking threat. There's an element of pride here. I'm annoyed at myself for making so many elementary mistakes. As promised, we're just going to try and shock through here. Brave. It looks like the just hold these men back. The Babylonian masked archers need to be in support. I'm setting up a new battle line here. As I expected, it looks like the reinforcements won't even make it to the battle in time to get involved. But if they do arrive, they will be the coup de grace. Those mounted scouts will also go down with the enemy army this close to breaking. They might be what decides it. I've exhausted my options for the turn. So next turn. That was one unit I did not want to see rally. There is a high chance of rallying now because these are units that have the advantage from Deity, which means they have a higher rally roll. And in addition to that, there are now a lot of routing troops on the field in the first place. It may be the fall of these levy infantry which decides things. enormous pressure on those Medi archers now. On those Medi mixed foot now. We haven't been able to block this flanking charge, which means I'm going to get them here, and those are only reserve Assyrian foot. They'll probably cave under the pressure of a flank attack. Yeah, that was always going to happen eventually. I'm still confident I can win this battle, but it's going to extend the length of the battle. Hopefully they'll drop back. Good. No point in staying in that scrub. We'll be able to get the charge next turn. I would almost have decided it if it wasn't for the fact that they managed to get a rout on me. I say almost because we've not got to the 40% yet. And that'll help, but I really would have rather gone after the levy foot. Charge! And into their backs. This is one unit you're not going to get for free. Get in there and obstruct their charge. All of that? Curses. Move in and try and move in. We're going to destroy that unit of levies. Don't destroy them yet. They could obstruct our reinforcements. They're no more. Take the general here. Go in for another charge. Try and break them this time. That's another disruption. I'm just going to move in and flank them then. It's going to be a distraction, but we've got plenty of force on this flank now. You think that's going to stop a flank attack? I've got a bridge to sell you. Why do I always end up eating my words? Never underestimate the light foot. Never do it. They will always surprise you in horrible, horrible ways. Fine. Kill them all. Looks like they've delayed me for another turn. And now these guys have arrived. Which means I won't be able to get a flank attack in that I need. So they foiled me here after all of that. We were so close to rescuing this. And it's just failed at last. Now this battle really will be extended. These units just will not die. One more volley of arrows. Still no auto break. Highly superior troops. They won't break for a while. We're not going to win the battle on the right. We need to win it on the left. I'll send the light cavalry to take care of them. Interesting choice. Now they've set themselves up for a flank attack. The centre of the enemy army still sweeping all before them. But this is where we'll break them. This and here should be more than enough. That should be more than a large enough part of their army to dishearten them and cause them to flee. I need to get to a 25% advantage here for those who are new to the series. Thankfully these slingers are finally out of ammo. And they escape again! Untrained levy troops retreat again! They're proving worthier than men of their type have any right to be. Oh, never mind, we'll get them anyway once they break. And here's where I'm hoping to make some progress, finally. We're at that awkward stage of the battle where I can't offer much more in the way of commentary. It's just going to be a long, slow and grinding process to erode the Assyrian army into the desert sands. Those chariots finally couldn't take any more. And let's think carefully about this. My target is that unit of Assyrian guard foot. Get the flank in against those. Oh, and we got a very lucky result from that flanking charge. We managed to fragment them. I can't follow it up, unfortunately, with the charge into the flanks of this unit, but it has. That's it. This battle's over. It's finally over, and it's finally clear how it's going to end. Although I shouldn't have done that. Keep going. Maybe we can finish them up as well. Not quite. But the enemy army is seconds away from folding. That's another 2 units gone. 44%, we're so close. But this should do it. Break them! And that's it. Assuming there's no rallies, it's over. The Babylonian Empire is dead. Sorry, the Assyrian... What am I saying? The Assyrian Empire is dead. We've taken this cruel empire and ground it down to the point where nothing remains of them. The barbarians are on their way out. Another disruption. Fortunately, there's little my Babylonian mixed-foot can do except to pin these Assyrian cavalry in place. The enemy commander is making his last stand. My commander is unfortunately occupied with pursuing the enemy foot, the enemy cavalry. Rather. And just bring any remaining fire we can to bear. And fresh reinforcements have arrived. It's still important I do my best because the enemy may well rally. I haven't forgotten about this unit of chariots. There's nothing I can do to save the... Well, wait, there's maybe something. I was hoping that they'd pursue another square. It wasn't to be. No, I can't really offer much. Well, all I can do is move them into the forest. They might be able to protect themselves there for long enough. I'll set up a flank threat here so that these melee spearmen don't come under pressure. They fall back anyway. Now these... Oh, come on. We're close. I don't want to lose any more. This battle should have ended ages ago if I could just close the deal. Of course. You rats. What are they hoping to achieve? What's the point in coming back to this? It's doing nothing but delaying the inevitable now. If they'd held out a turn longer. But the enemy may be walking into a flank attack. Ah! Good, they held. And it's still not going to stop my cavalry charge. I suspected that was going to happen. Amazingly, we managed to stand up to all of it. I don't think those archers stand much of a hope. Amazingly, they held on for another turn. I need to end this. Well, they'll break next turn. And I don't think my camels can get there to help. We're very close. But this entire battle has been full of very close moments that couldn't be fulfilled. they broken, we could have ended the battle there. Oh, and I forgot that the AI gets a turn even if. Oh wait, no, that's it. That's it. Those Babylonian masked archers saved the day. That's it. Victory! Honor is indeed satisfied. We'll let the slaughter end. Victory. Okay, I am. Well, despite winning, I'm not very happy with my performance there. My overall strategic plan was sound. This was the right thing to do. If I paid more attention to the ingress from these oncoming infantry, and I might have been able to delay this a little bit longer. And I shouldn't have left these reinforcements longer. Another turn, and they could have been in a turn earlier, and they might have been able to turn this around and decide it sooner. As it is, we were rescued by these brave archers who came back to the fight. In the end, the rallies ended in my favour, as well as the AIs. I did a much better job over here, I think. I don't think there was in the end much I could have done to save these melee subject spearmen. They came under too much pressure from the other units I lost over here. I think they came under too much pressure from the Assyrian tribal levy slingers. I made a very foolish mistake when I didn't turn my melee spearmen around to face earlier on. I lost a critical volley, and that probably prolonged the battle. I could have won this battle more decisively if I hadn't allowed that to happen. So it's just the case. Part of it is the fact that I'm trying to record, and I'm obviously trying to give commentary to this as well as performing the battle. But that still goes to show that I have some work to do in being able to keep everything in my mind and think about every little detail on the field. So overall, good strategy, and I made a mess of the enemy with my cavalry over here, but my infantry handling suffered, and I need to continue to develop that. So let's have a look at how we did. Well, we lost 17% of our army, but 44% of the enemy army is gone now. So they'll now be forced to retreat into Nineveh for a siege. Whether or not we've destroyed enough of this army to succeed in the siege is another matter, but with the enemy army this diminished, I think we've won the day. They won't be able to muster much resistance after this. Anyway folks, I have been Napoleon Complex. If you followed me to the end of this video, then thank you very much. Please consider leaving a like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Farewell.